are listening to DeadEndRoad TV. This is the DeadEndRoad Show. I'm your host, Bill, and joining me for the first time is my good friend, Ian.
Hello.
Hey.
You know, I had a game plan for how I wanted this podcast to go. But then I was like, you know what? F it. I'm not going to think. I'm not going to think about it at all. I'm just going to go in and do the thing.
You know what? I found that's like the best way to do this whole enterprise because I used to have very, very detailed notes for the shows. Like I would get into like, first we'll do this and then we'll transition to this, and I would plan out every little thing, and then in the end it really doesn't matter because it's just a conversation. It's just bullshit. It's just
right. Yeah. And also it's probably not best practice to open up with an obscure reference that I just showed you 10 minutes ago and nobody else is going to understand, but
I mean, my entire life is just making obscure references, so it's fine. It's really fine. Like I have a soundboard. I mean,
do you want to talk about that at all at some point during the show?
Oh yeah.
We could totally. I've watched it like 5 times since I sent it to you today.
Yeah, we could talk about anything. I don't give a shit. Yeah, that it's bizarre. Okay, so I don't even know how to set it up though.
If you had an intro planned, I screwed it up already. So
not barely. I really didn't. You've already like cleared the bar for the intro, so it's fine.
Great.
So you sent me a clip of this press conference.
Right.
For hockey player Nathan MacKinnon, a reporter asking him, I guess it's a question. Because I guess
there's a riff.
Yeah, I guess there's a question mark at the end of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I guess I could play it.
Can you? I mean, that would be, yeah.
Hold on. Actually, you know what?
Nate, you know, I know you're a gamer and all this, and you know, I'm just thinking maybe out loud as far as in your shoes right now. It's like, all right, we've done all the thinking we can do, we've done all the game planning we can do. Maybe you know, just fuck it. We'll just go in next year and just not think that anymore and just win this thing when we don't think so much. Am I on the right path at all with this? Like maybe you just guys think a little too much.
No.
just fuck it. Just fuck it. Just not even think.
Not even think. All that preparation you did all year. Look where it got you. It got you nowhere.
It got you nowhere. And so you just shouldn't think. You just step out onto the ice and, you know, head blank.
It's brutal. It's brutal for a number of reasons. You know, Nathan MacKinnon had just lost Game 6 of that series. They were just eliminated from the playoffs as the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
And this is the tail end of a fairly lengthy media conference.
Right.
And he just wants to go home. He just wants to go home. But like on the other hand, though, this reporter I learned is a beat writer for a Colorado, you know, local newspaper.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, he's been reporting on the Avs all season long.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
And I did a year of beat writing in college.
Sure.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
You know, writing 3 stories a week about a team that plays 1 game a week you're stretching in a lot of different areas.
But
so I kind of have sympathy for this guy a little bit. Like I understand what he was trying to say, right? Because he's like been watching this team. You don't?
No, I don't.
Well, this is my interpretation.
Okay.
He's been watching this team play all season long. He's been covering them. They've been outstanding. They've been, you know, the number 1 team in the league. And once again, they fall short. So he's like, where do you go from here? What do you do? You know, like there were some games during that series against Vegas where I'm like, I don't know what else Colorado could have done to win this game.
I don't think the solution is to disassociate the mind body and you know, have an ego death and
Oh, absolutely not. No. It did not come out the way he planned it to, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I do just have a little bit of sympathy for the guy because, you know, this is the tail end of a very long season, and he's kind of just like run out of things to say, I'm sure.
I guess, but then it's like, don't say anything.
don't say anything. Yeah. Just feed McKinnon the same question you've been giving him all season.
Was this? I don't know if you have the full context of the entire press conference. I know that this is the end of it, but was this dude's only question?
Yes.
Oh my God! This is what he had.
I guess there's a reason they saved him for second to last when anybody that was watching it already checked out.
It's like, oh, this dude again.
Yeah.
This guy.
No, I don't have it pulled up, but he did the next day go on Twitter, and of course people were giving him crap for it.
Yeah.
He was like trying to defend himself, and that was pretty rough.
Well, yeah, you can't. You can't.
You kind of just have to own it.
You have to. That's the only defense.
Yeah. I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up. It's because we watched it a little while ago. Yeah,
it's very good. Oh boy.
But anyway, on with the show.
Yeah, on with the show. What do we want to get into I guess next? I
mean, I've already hijacked it, so it's up to you.
No, it's perfect. No, that's how it goes. Because yeah, I was gonna do a whole thing where I was like, oh, you might be nervous, so I'm gonna be like, you know, giving you some shit for that, and it's like, nope, this is fine. We're just gonna keep rolling. Do we want to talk about the kids? You want to talk about the Zoomers?
Sure.
Okay, so I don't.
You'll have to explain this. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand the children. The children scare me. The TikTok scares me. The Zoomers scare me.
Are you on TikTok at all?
No, I can't. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if you're above the age of, I don't know, 23 and you're on TikTok, like I think you're kind of on a list. Like you're on a list, and I know that's like giving you some shit. You're saying I'm on a list right now. Yeah, I think you might be. And I know that, like, you know, that's fine because, you know, you're not going to do anything, but like I think you're probably on a list.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, like the algorithm really like zeroes in on, you know, whatever stuff that you like. So I find that the stuff I get on my For You page is mostly people that are, you know, in their 20s or even older, and it's just like,
okay,
I think whatever you're about to talk about is something that I have not experienced when viewing my TikTok.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So there is a subset of the children, the Zoomers, the teens, that are attempting to astral project in well, that's my terminology for it. They call it like manifesting, or I forget what the other term is for it, into fictional locales like Hogwarts and you know, I think like Riverdale.
Like they're opening a door to Narnia.
Yeah, but except they think it's real. Like they think that they can actually transport themselves there.
Okay.
And what they're basically doing is like invoking lucid dreams. So like they're having waking dreams. And they like record themselves doing it.
So it's the recording is just them in a room, like having this experience, but you're just seeing them in a room.
Yeah, and it's also like instructions on how to do it, and it's like, hey, this will transport you to Hogwarts if you do this properly, and it's like all these TikToks about how this is like, oh, manifest yourself to Hogwarts and go kiss Draco Malfoy. It's like also very like for the purposes of having romantic interactions with fictional characters.
Yeah, it's almost like if you were to take fan fiction and put it in like a VR space, right?
Right. But the problem is that they think it's real.
Yeah.
And so this sort of intersects with another phenomenon. And so some of these children believe in the that there are cheat codes for reality.
Okay.
That can bring them benefits.
That's just called white privilege, isn't it?
You'd think, but some of these children think that there are like actual numeric codes that they can that they can like chant or say or write that will give them specific benefits. So some of them are like, oh hey, do this to lucid dream, do this to shift realities. That's the other thing. Do this for literally infinite money. So like they actually think
so they're
that,
casting spells.
Right, but they call them cheat codes. They actually call them cheat codes.
Okay.
Right. This one says write them down, say them out loud, write them in the air. And then some of them are like actually like sad, like write this one for chemical dependence.
Oh wow.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to take this all in. This is
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So have you seen any of these TikToks?
Mostly just the screen caps.
Did you happen to see maybe like how many views or likes some of these were getting? Like how niche is this?
This one screen cap I have right here has 21,000 likes.
Oh, that's pretty solid.
This one has 45,000.
Okay.
This is a shifting code. This code is like a cheat code in manifesting. You can write it anywhere on your body, script, pillow, and or candle. It has helped many people so far.
Well, how do we know this isn't just like role play? You know?
So, but the
like how do we know that we're just not in on the joke? Like we're watching it as outsiders and we're not in on it, you know?
No, because this is part of like a new the children are like reinventing like new ageism.
Okay.
Like this one account is literally called Spiritual Tarot Guide.
Sure.
So here's another one, and it's like this one says, "Did you know that there are cheat codes for the Matrix?" This really works. I said this while crying earlier, and then I just stopped and felt lighter.
I'm gonna have to write a few of these down.
Yeah. So, okay. And then there's a reply to it, and it says, I forgot, it is kind of hard to find, but here's the source. It's from the CIA's Freedom of Information Act electronic reading room.
The cheat code is?
The cheat code, yeah. So they think that
it's from the CIA.
From the CIA.
So they just have these like stored away somewhere?
Yeah, the CIA's got the cheat codes that they're trying to keep from us.
Well, how did this TikToker get their hands on it?
From the Freedom of Information Act.
Oh, okay.
So the CIA let this one slip, I guess.
Right.
So, and then another thing that if you look through these is that a lot of them will be called where is it?
So this went very quickly from whatever it was to now like conspiracy territory, right?
Oh yeah, there's always overlap. Yeah. So a lot of times you'll see them called Grabavoy codes. Okay. Now,
Grabavoy codes?
Grabavoy.
Okay,
I don't know how to pronounce it. Now that name is pretty important because that is the name of this bizarro Russian healer who was a self-styled healer. This is from the BBC, by the way. A self-styled healer who claimed he could resurrect children killed in the Beslin school siege has been sentenced to 11 years in jail in Russia. So he kind of styled himself as like a Rasputin figure.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was this healer. He said that he could resurrect children that were tragically killed.
Right. And so now they're like,
and he also
worshiping him essentially.
He also invented these codes, supposedly.
You know, for a podcast topic, I don't even know what to say.
And so the other thing that's kind of, I don't know, I think it's, I guess maybe darkly comedic, is that a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, you can write this code, you should write this code on your body or whatever. And these there's just strings of numbers. So then you have children writing strings of numbers on like their forearm or whatever.
Yeah.
And what does that image kind of remind you of? A string of numbers like stamped onto the forearm. Yeah. So the optics of it are terrible.
Yes.
It's just very bizarre.
It really is. When you first mentioned it, I was thinking, okay, this is just like, you know, a few people on TikTok being weird, but you said 40,000 likes on one of these. Like, that's like, man.
Yeah, this
is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, I picked up on this back in May. I don't know what the current status of it is. But yeah, this is like a trend. And it's just like a weird intersection of beliefs and conspiracy and
yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's like the dude who kind of came up with this thing is like, he's in a Russian prison for scamming the parents.
So these children had already passed away when he was scamming the parents?
I believe nearly 200 children and 150 adults were killed when Russian forces stormed the school in Beslan in September 2004. Security forces entered the building to force out Chechen rebels who had taken more than 1,000 people hostage. And so he was taking money from the parents of these children who were killed, saying that he could resurrect them.
Wow. That only gets you 11 years?
I guess 1 year for convicted on 11 counts of fraud. In his verdict, the court said Grabovoi deceived people, guaranteeing a happy outcome to those who turned to him after the death of a loved one or a close relative. His methods included the use of psychological pressure and amounted to the theft of property and ownership rights. Grabovoi established a pyramid-style hierarchy of trained healers, each of whom pledged to spread his teachings around Russia for a suitable fee, and he would take 10% off the top.
Wait, so that's an actual pyramid scheme thrown in there?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, you'd have levels of healers and like
Yep.
wow.
And so then now you have
he was mixing and matching all sorts of different strategies and schemes there. Yeah.
I mean, what is a cult but, just a reframed pyramid scheme? Like,
that's true.
So then now you have like teens on TikTok, like kind of doing the same thing, but then they're probably not even getting paid for it because this dude's in the slammer.
He's in prison. Yeah.
In a Russian prison.
Well, I mean, to look on the bright side, psychologically, if these things are like helpful for someone, because you mentioned there was a comment there, right, where it seemed to help for somebody. And if it ends there, right, like if it's just like a coping mechanism and it ends there and doesn't like turn into anything weird, then,
I suppose. It's just, it's so bizarre.
Yeah. Grabovoi.
Yeah, I guess that's how you say it. That's how it's spelled.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's like, I don't know if it's the filters or the fonts these kids are using, but it literally looks like the shitty like tarot sites you'd see from like the early 2000s. And so I don't know why that's like the house style. Where it's just
wait until he gets out of prison and he learns that he's an internet celebrity now.
I get, yeah. And it's like, why would you even like invoke his name if like he's
well, I'm sure the kids have no idea. Like the people that are doing this on TikTok, they have no clue like the origins of it, right?
He's in a Russian prison. But like all you have to do is Google Grabavoy.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to dig up.
I mean, for them, this is probably something like, astrology, right? Like, it's just another way to sort of interpret.
Yeah, but that at least has like a cultural lineage,
Yes.
This is just.
But for them, it's just like another way to interpret your emotions, right? Like, it's just a coping mechanism, essentially.
I guess this one just says everything is possible. And then it's just a string of numbers. What is that even supposed to do? It's like new car, immediate money, and then everything is possible.
God, I think this was the original intention of the numbers from Lost. This was going to be the original explanation for what those would turn out to be.
Yeah. Back when everything was possible.
Yeah. Everything happens for a reason.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He wasn't he wasn't going to first write Not Penny's Boat. He was going to write the code for new car.
Where's Wallace?
Yeah.
Grabavoy will tell you where your son is.
Yep.
Or maybe not.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
See, this is the problem is like whenever I get into like the heavy shit, it's like I don't know how to transition to some other stuff.
Oh, to what's next? Yeah, that was a heck of a thing to lead off with.
I know. I don't know why I do it. That's the same thing. Like I keep going back to it, but the episode we did about Army Hammer. It's like how I opened with that because like I was fascinated, and so it's like how do you spin out of that?
Yeah,
how do you spin out of that?
Story.
Yeah,
I know.
So yeah, I mean, I could play a little jingle to get us out of it.
The transition.
Yeah. What do I got? Is this it? Yeah, here we go. Okay. Talk about references, and everything I have is just a reference to something better.
So I don't know. I stayed silent during that because on my end it was it was cutting in and out again.
I don't know why.
So I don't know if that's going to come up on the recording when people actually listen to this.
In my headphones, it's not. So hopefully it shouldn't. That'll be a bummer.
Yeah.
I guess I could edit it in, but Vtubers.
But I feel like that did the job though.
I think so.
That worked.
Yeah. So let's talk about cat girls.
Great.
So, you want to talk about algorithms? My YouTube is irrevocably fucked. Let's just say, because for some reason I started getting VTuber clips, and then you make the mistake and you click on one, and then now that's all I get. And so
mistake, you say?
Yes, mistake.
You just accidentally happened to be hovering over it, and next thing you know,
I was a little curious. Okay, I was a little curious. I wanted to see how it was about one of them saying things in English. Okay, and I was like, oh, this might be interesting. So, it happens.
Sure.
Actually, you know what? That might not be true. I think the way that it started was, there's an English VTuber who has a rig that is basically like she's her own video game or whatever, and she has a talk show that she talks to other people on Twitch, like other streamers that I've never fucking heard of, and I got some clips of that. And actually that was pretty entertaining, some of the clips I saw, because the show is almost like a version of like Space Ghost, where it's just this bizarro like talk show with this character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's just kind of like doing improvised shit where like she sets herself on fire and like kind of things like that. Just like sort of off the wall.
Yeah, because it opens the door for a lot more possibilities.
Yeah, so I think I got some clips of that, and so I clicked on some of those, and so then this led into like the Japanese ones.
Sure.
So if you're probably completely in the dark, but now I've done a vast amount of research now.
I don't doubt it.
Into this whole enterprise. So there's this one major company of the VTubers, HoloLive. They originally only had Japanese VTubers, and then they branched out into English ones, and now I think even Indonesian ones. So they're expanding at a rapid pace of all these anime girls. I think they even have anime boys, but I don't think they're nearly as popular because, you know, why would they be?
Right.
It is fascinating, like truly, because the pretense of like a fourth wall is just sort of okay, apparently my brother can hear me yelling about VTubers because he just messaged me. Which is not ideal.
Well, didn't you say he listens to every episode?
He does, but he doesn't listen live, so he should keep his thoughts to himself for now.
He's gonna spoil himself.
Right. So the pretense of a fourth wall is like gone. And what I mean by that is there's a person playing an anime character, okay, and they're almost always like an anime girl that's also like, you know, an animal, so like cat girl, dog girl, whatever.
Like can shift into?
No, that's what they are. That's what they are. Is they're like it's just a cat, like, you know, it's an anime girl and they have cat ears like that, you know. It's an anime. Okay. It's an anime girl, but they have dog ears. It's an anime girl, but they have bunny ears. On and on and on. So they're playing a specific character, but at the same time they're talking about like what they did in their own personal lives and their own like lived experience as a person, not as the character. But at the same time, they have these fictional backstories where they're acting as the character.
Do you think it's like a merging of the two?
Yeah, and it's fascinating because the audience keeps up the pretense of like this duality. Like they don't pretend that they're actually watching an anime girl. Like they know that it's a performance. They're not like that deluded, you know?
Yeah. They're not like pro wrestling fans.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
Where they think, you know, never mind. We're not going to go down that road. But
no, the comparison might be there where it's like, what is it, kayfabe and all that shit, where it's like
yes,
wrestling fans are aware of the, you know, the spectacle of the fact that it is all fake and like.
Right, but you engage with it as if it's real.
Yeah. I
mean, from a logistics standpoint, though, for the VTuber, it makes sense, right? Because if you're streaming for many hours to, you know, sort of fill time talking exclusively about like fictional stuff, right, that has to do with this character would be a really difficult task. So you need to be able to incorporate your own life into it somehow, right?
Right. Then at the same time, the fans are like like wholly protective of the performer behind the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like where, you know, if anybody even hints at like their real identity, it's like don't say shit. Don't say shit. Like shut up. Like, you know. It's like this very, you know, it's like anti-doxing to like such a high standard.
Mm-hmm. Which is almost refreshing, considering what most, you know, like comment sections or chats on Twitch look like, especially for female streamers.
Yeah, it's like
you know what I mean?
they want to protect this. I don't know, illusion, or like they want to protect what they have.
Right. Yeah.
By not jeopardize. I don't. It's such an interesting dynamic.
Definitely. The only experience I have of watching a VTuber was when I believe, and I don't know what pronouns would be.
That's the other. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say they.
Sure.
I believe their name was Code Miko.
That she does the talk show.
Oh, she's the one that does the talk show.
She does the talk show.
See, I've already switched to she, but I don't know. I'll have to double check on that. But
I believe the performer is also she. So
okay, great. Yeah. So I saw her when she participated in the PogChamps chess tournament earlier this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. If I remember right, she has, like, when she's on camera, she has her T-shirt is the chat basically.
Yeah.
So you see your comments scrolling across her shirt, which is pretty cool. Like, you can do some interesting stuff with that.
It seems like her setup is like way more advanced than, you know, the run of the mill VTube anime girl.
Sure, and she's extremely popular too. I'm sure.
Yeah, because she has like free movement. She can like get up and, you know, do things, and like she can change her like body proportions. Like according like if she activates it, the chat can like throw bits and like just like make her, well, they usually make her boobs super big, but they can make her head super big.
Right.
Like she has like a character creation menu where they can like morph her body. So yeah, she has like a very advanced setup going on. But yeah, it's and so that's the other thing. So like the HoloLive, they're like they consider it like a virtual idol thing. So like they all sing, they can dance, they put out original songs, you know, they put on virtual concerts. A lot of them draw, like they're like artists.
Right.
And then they also play games. It's like they're doing all these.
So in order to become a VTuber on HoloLive, you basically are signing. You have to like follow their guidelines of like what you do.
Yep. Yeah.
It seems like
so like you audition for the role.
Oh.
You don't come in with your character. You audition for the character.
I see.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So then I got into this thing. I was like, so, and these characters are super popular. Like you look at a live stream, and there are like 50,000 people watching.
And this is all on Twitch?
The HoloLive ones are on YouTube.
Oh, they're on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah. There'll be 50,000 people watching.
Right, because you're getting these in your suggestions.
Yeah. And there's a whole sub economy of people that upload clips translated, because most of them are Japanese.
Right.
And they speak, you know, they're doing their streams in Japanese, obviously. So there's a whole sub-economy of channels that are just devoted to clipping out and translating clips from the streams.
Sort of like how, like manga for a long time, certain ones you couldn't get here. So they were sort of fan translated, right?
Yeah. It's a fascinating dynamic. And then you look and then you see the VTubers interact with the clips. They're like, oh, I saw this clip of me that was translated in English. And it's like, oh, I can't believe they translated it like that. Because there's one that's like a duck or whatever. And he's like, they just translated this to me making duck noises whenever I was just laughing. And they
yeah.
They interact like that. And they're appreciative of it because it brings them this new audience. Like, how can an English audience interact with the Japanese characters if they can't speak that language? But it's like and vice versa, I guess, for the English ones,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really dedicated community has sprung up fairly quickly.
Yeah, it's insane how it blew up. But it's just like the amount of effort. Like they have they're like putting out albums and these performances, and they have these elaborate backstories, and they're like building out this lore through these these songs, and it's just a lot of everything. And so then I'm like, okay, like you audition for this role, and then the performer is doing all this. You're writing songs, you're drawing, one of them is writing the songs, performing the songs, and also making like the animated videos for herself.
Yeah.
While also streaming. And so like you're doing all of this for a character, and it's like, oh, you don't own the character that you are. Like, you are this character.
That is trippy. That is like to think about. That is.
It's like, this is you. This is you. You're doing this. You are the character. So what happens then?
Whenever, I mean, I guess there is a comparison to be made with just like acting, right? Like you inhabit a character for however long you are performing as them, but at the end of the day, it's not your.
I think it's more extreme though. It's like you're living as this.
You're living, yeah.
Character.
Every day.
Yeah. You're constantly referring to yourself as the character. You're telling stories as if you were the character.
Right.
Like even though, you have like this elaborate backstory, like this one is like the Grim Reaper or whatever, but it's still your personality infused into the, I'm not naive enough to say that it's wholly, it is a performance, obviously. It's not like, to say that the person behind the character is putting 100% of themselves on the camera through the anime girl. Like, no, they're obviously not. But it's like,
right,
when they're telling stories about what they've done that week, it's like, that's them. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you could set out to perform, but when you're on camera and when you're on stream for 8 hours a day or whatever, your own personality, yourself, is going to come through. It's just inevitable,
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, what happens when you want to split from this company? You just
it sounds like they have a lot of power.
You just abandon the character that you were, or like,
right?
Or are they're just gonna let you? They're not gonna let you take the character. It's theirs. Why would they give it up?
Because they can recast.
Exactly. And it's like, what happens then?
Yeah, like how does a fan base react to a recasting?
Right. And so as soon as I'm like doing this research and like trying to figure out what the hell's going on, one of the major VTubers of HoloLive is leaving.
Oh,
they're leaving, and like as I'm like trying to formulate all this shit, like thinking about what would happen if they, one of the big ones is leaving, and it's just like.
So does that mean we're going to get some answers about these questions?
We might, yeah, because it seems like it's like, oh, okay, that character is just abandoned now.
Wow.
It's just done. That character's gone. They call it graduating, which seems like dystopian and I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm graduating now. It's like, okay.
I mean, if you're just going to retire the character, then like, I guess as the company, right? You're at that point, you're just saying like, okay, your success was linked to us, and we don't want you to have that success apart from us. So you don't take this character with you. Instead, we're just gonna get rid of it.
Right? Yeah. It's like putting it in the Disney vault, or like, I don't know. It's weird.
It's fascinating.
It really is.
Yeah. It's definitely more extreme than acting, because with acting, you take on a role and then you move on. But for this, it's like you're living through it, and who knows for how long. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, what if the performer wants to do another VTuber? It's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Like, are we, in a few years, are we going to see on like IMDb pages lists of actors with their VTuber credits?
Maybe, but like that's the thing. It's like,
but they're not actors. Like specifically, like technically, like it's different. It's not the same thing.
Right.
Right. Like you almost can't put them in that category.
But there's also this secrecy behind who they really are.
Right.
That's kept hush. But at the same time, if you want to find the information, you can find it. Or even if you don't want to find the information, it is out there, because I stumbled upon it.
I mean, the last thing I wanted to do on here was talk about pro wrestling.
No, but I think there's a comparison there.
Right, you have like if you remember a popular one from years ago, he might still be around. I don't know, but Rey Mysterio, would always wear the mask, right?
Right,
and he was never seen without it on like broadcast or when he's in the ring. And you're not supposed to know what he looks like. That's whole, part of the whole thing. But you could just Google search him, because he wrestled for a long time without a mask. So it's the information's there. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. You choosing not to look at that, like have that perception, right? Right. Yeah.
It's like some of them are voice actresses in Japan. It's like, okay, no surprise there. It's like some of them did, and what they've done before makes complete sense.
Yeah, it seems like it would translate really well.
Yeah, some of them were VTubers independently, and then auditioned for specific roles and like things like that. So like, but yeah, like that information is out there. It's just like that. It's kept obscured intentionally.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating to me.
I mean, when you talk about a character on a TV show, you're not, well, I mean, you can be, but you're typically not talking about the actor, right? Unless you're specifically like, analyzing the performance or something. But if you're talking about something that's happening in the story, you're not referring to the actor, right? So it's kind of a similar thing, I think.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where your YouTube algorithm has led you.
Yeah, and it's just irrevocably broken like that now. There's no helping it. But
yeah, you're just in now. You're in that.
Community. It's stuck. It's stuck. And it's like I'm not even watching streams, really.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing like clips and shit. And then I'm like going through the comments and seeing like how these fans are like interacting and how they're thinking about these characters, and like, and like how they're like now they're like mourning the loss of like one of them. Basically, it's like somebody's died. It's really weird.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
So it's really cool that you had me on this episode. It's such a historic episode. It's the one where you announced that DeadEndRoad is turning into a Gamer Boy channel.
Oh God.
So cool. Can't wait. Did I just spoil the surprise? I wasn't supposed to announce it just then.
Yeah. It's ruined.
Sorry about that. Oh man.
Should we just keep the weeb train going and just go SMT now?
Yeah, I mean, you were renaming the podcast.
Yeah,
so I think you have to talk about it.
Yeah, it's time for the SMT Power Hour. It's because I haven't done an episode in, I don't know how, it was like March or whatever. So I had to change in the notes. I originally had, oh yeah, SMT Nocturne, it's coming soon. So I had to change it. Yeah, Nocturne is out, and it should be a joyous occasion, but I've created problems for myself.
Oh, don't tell me you still haven't come back.
I have not because I have brain worms. I have a magatama in my brain that is keeping me.
Are you going to explain this situation?
Yep, I am, because all right, so Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne came out, and I've been waiting for it for way too long. It's the HD remaster, and it's very good. It looks so good. And so I was streaming it over on twitch.tv/DeadEndRoad which you could check out and give us a follow there. Got to do the plug. And I streamed for like 3 days in a row, and I was having a great time. Nobody was watching, and I don't give a shit. And you know, then I needed a, you know, I couldn't keep streaming days in a row. I get tired very easily. Because I'm a frail little boy. So I didn't stream, but then I was like, okay, but I want to play Nocturne still. I want to play Nocturne. But then that would ruin the VODs. That would ruin the VODs that nobody's watching, because I would make progress and then it wouldn't be reflected in the VODs. I wouldn't have that footage. So I haven't played Nocturne in like, I don't know, 3 weeks at least. Yeah. So yeah. It's been a problem. It's like,
so what's the plan? What's the plan from here?
The plan is to get back to streaming it.
Yeah.
Still. So the plan.
So you're still unwilling to play it offline.
Yeah. It's I have this weird complex with it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I understand. I get it. You want that continuity. You want to have it all there. In the event that somebody decides to start it and they get into it and then they
can't finish it
without a whole, they don't want to be without a whole section of the game. Yeah. Now, do these VODs, do you save them because Twitch VODs go away after a while, right?
Yeah, they do. But I record locally and then
right, okay, so you have them all.
Yeah. So I was attempting to edit VODs down into more palatable sizes. But I'm just dog shit at editing. I'm really bad at it, and it's very time consuming, especially if I'm streaming for like 5 hours at a time, 3 to 5 hours at a time.
Yeah.
So then I have to sit there and edit 3 to 5 hours. So what I've decided to do, and I was going to save this for the business segment, but who gives a shit? I'm just going to put the VODs up on their own playlist on the YouTube channel. So that's should, yeah,
that works. Yeah, the whole editing thing, like I've seen, big Twitch streamers, I guess they probably are, when you get big enough, you can hire somebody to just like do that stuff for you. But just making these videos that are like 20 minutes long and they're pulling from like an 8-hour stream, highlights and stuff. It's just, it's wild.
Yep. Yeah. So that's going to be the plan. But I need to get back to that game. Especially.
Well, has it lived up to expectations so far?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like I knew what to expect because it really is just the same game, but
And you're playing it on PlayStation, right?
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Because I had already played like 80% of it because I was like, oh, they've waited too long. They're never gonna come out with an HD version. So I emulated it. And then the rumors started kicking up again as I was making my way through it, and I was like, oh shit. And so then I abandoned that playthrough on my emulator, and I waited. And I waited.
You never saw the ending.
Never saw the end.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm like a monk. I've been like saving myself for Nocturne.
6 months. So in 6 months, when you decide to finish the stream, that's going to be exciting to get that ending for the first time.
I know. But so then I have some kind of disease. So it's like a month before Nocturne was coming, I was like, okay, that's coming out. So you know what that means? I got to bust out the 3DS again and finish SMT4 Apocalypse. Got to do that.
Like, is there a connection between the two?
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. SMT4 Apocalypse is like a pseudo sequel to, well, not really to 4, but like other than that, they have nothing to do with each other.
Right.
So, but just like, yeah, no, I got to get into that mode. I got to do it. In the end, I didn't even like Apocalypse that much.
Well, so now you're pressed to finish this game before the new one comes out in the fall, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they re-revealed Shin Megami Tensei V.
Yeah. At the E3 Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, and oh my god, does that look good?
Yeah, it looks really cool. I mean, I don't have I don't have the history with the series, any history with the series, but the thing that it reminded me of was just Persona 5, as far as like the character, the visuals, the character design, all that.
Yeah, because this will be the first like fully 3D SMT since Nocturne. Because the TS games, while you like move around the world in 3D, the battles take place. All the demons are sprites. They're sprite based. So we haven't seen like 3D demon designs since Nocturne. So yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I have reservations. And other people have some reservations too, but like SMT people are so weird because a lot of them are just like annoying edgelords. And the problem is that you have a perfect battle system in Nocturne, and it's just like you don't need to do anything to it. So based on the very tiny gameplay footage of like actual battles that we saw, they've already made one major change, which is that buffs and debuffs now have turn limit, which is usually only a thing in the Persona games, not in SMT. In SMT, buffs last the entirety of battles.
Okay.
Unless they're either removed or increased, decreased. But they last the full length of the battle. In Persona, they last. It's usually like 3 turns.
So from someone who's never played an SMT game, I'm assuming the battle system is a bit more elaborate than what you see in Persona?
Yeah. So it's...
Yeah.
Persona is based off of the SMT press turn system, where if you exploit a weakness or you get a crit, you will get an additional turn. But that turn, rather than being like a one more in Persona for that character, it's just another turn for the entire party. So you're still going through the turn order of your party. You just get an additional turn in total. Rather than that character getting one more attack like immediately. So that changes the dynamics of it. technically they're called half turns, but like that just confuses things. It's an additional turn.
Right.
Because it's functionally the same thing. So yeah, so that changes the buffs. The other thing is that in the DS SMT games, physical attacks use MP rather than HP, which I don't like nearly as much as in Nocturne and in Persona, where physical attacks use HP.
Right.
Because I really like the risk reward of spending HP on physical attacks.
Yeah.
The trade-off in the DS games is that everything hits like a friggin' truck, and like everything hits like a truck. So your HP is still valuable. And, you know, you could still lose it if you're, you know, doing demon negotiation and they ask for your HP and things like that, you know, traps, blah, 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 blah. So it's not like HP is irrelevant. It's just that you lose a little bit more of the risk reward from physical skills.
Yeah.
And it places more of an emphasis on MP, where it MP is already, like, it puts more value on MP, where MP is already valuable because that's where your elemental and healing and buffs and debuffs are already, that's already your resource for them.
Right.
So then it becomes your resource for everything, and I don't like that nearly as much. I vastly prefer the Nocturne system.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that has me a little bit bummed that they're still using the DS system. Like, at the same time, it's like technically the game isn't final, but like, it's probably as ironed out as it's going to be at this point.
Is it coming out in, you know, North America the same time that it is like in Japan? Yeah,
technically the next day, which is
okay.
As close as it usually ever is. Like, normally it's 6 months later at best. So this is fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to say, this probably isn't the norm.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So that's really cool.
It is, yeah. They had said it was going to be a simultaneous release when they first officially announced that it was coming out this year. I still didn't think it was coming out this year. I thought it would have been delayed.
Yeah.
So it's still all amazing. And of course, I'm still, you know, losing my shit for the game.
You're nitpicking.
Oh, absolutely nitpicking. But yeah. And then the whole pre-order fiasco was it was only a 24-hour fiasco, but it was still a problem. Atlas doesn't, they fuck things up like frequently. So they were like, "Hey, June 21st at noon, get ready to pre-order, and there's going to be a collector's edition, get ready." And so then the 21st rolled around and it was noon, and they're like, "Pre-order now, look at this awesome collector's edition." And then it was the link, and it's like, okay, cool. And then they tweeted again, and it's like, stay tuned for the links for our partners for where you can get the game and the collector's edition. And it's like, okay, so when's that gonna be?
Yeah.
And it turned out, yeah, and it turned out hours from now, first only on a Canadian site, and that sold out. Then GameStop, and that sold out immediately. I had to create a GameStop account to try to get that because I didn't have one.
Yeah, and
it sold out. But like, they weren't even updating this. Like everybody's like refreshing the page. And the page wasn't updating. It was just like people trying to figure out. So like, I have like a Best Buy tab open, a GameStop tab open, an Amazon tab open with a search for Shin Megami Tensei V.
That's just a mad scramble. That's not how you want to roll things out.
No, not at all. Especially whenever they gave a specific time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they were like, "Oh yeah, thank you for your patience. We'll be letting you know when more partners have the game." It's like, okay.
It's so weird
when?
too, because this is not like the next, Call of Duty or whatever. This is a fairly niche thing.
Right.
It doesn't seem like it should require the level of effort just to obtain a copy.
Yeah. And so then I gave up because I was like, okay, well, I can't refresh this page, for the rest of my life. This is dumb.
Yeah.
And so then, just a whole 24 hours later, they tweeted, it's like, oh, hey, pre-order on Amazon. And I was like, oh, well, I'm glad I saw this 2 minutes after they tweeted it. And so I clicked it and I got it on Amazon. So yeah, I was able to pre-order the Fall of Man edition after 24 hours of being stressed out for no real reason. And the only reason why I want the premium edition is because, well, one, it comes with the soundtrack, which, like, I need the soundtrack. And it comes with an art book with the demons, and that's,
And so what are the odds that you actually start this game on day one?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, okay.
That's 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just asked because I remember that you bought, was it Persona 5 Royal when it first came out, and then you didn't touch it for a while, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was different because that was just...
It's a game you'd already played.
Yeah. And because I had just finished my second playthrough.
Oh, that's right.
Of the base Persona 5 for the Platinum.
Yeah. So. And when is this out again? Is there
November. It's the 12th, 15th, something like that.
Okay.
It's November.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and play Nocturne, and hopefully get into it before that.
Yeah.
Because based on everything you said about it, I've been really looking forward to trying the game.
It's so good. Just the art direction, the music, just the personality the game has is.
Mm-hmm.
There's really nothing like it. Even in SMT, there is nothing like Nocturne.
Okay.
It's yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be a must play for me if I ever move beyond the 2 games that I play and have been playing for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough whenever you're like stuck playing one thing.
Yeah.
I know that all too well.
Yep. I actually, and this is not going to help my situation at all, but I picked up Rocket League again on a whim this week. Of course. Which I'd been out on. I hadn't played in quite a while. So I was up later than I had planned to be last night.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, there's a tournament every night. There's a couple, but there's one at midnight. I'm like, okay, well, I'm pretty rusty. Let me just join this tournament, and I'll probably, cause my team to lose in like the first or second round, and then I'll just go to bed.
Yeah.
We made it all the way to the finals.
Oh wow!
An hour and a half later, almost 2 a.m., I'm in the final round of this 32-team Rocket League tournament, which was pretty cool. It was cool, but it was also a grind because our team was like the New York Islanders of Rocket League.
Oh, God.
Because what happened was I just, play with random people.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my teammates decided that he was just going to play in net the entire game.
Oh, okay.
For the most part, just play in net and not like rotate like you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just jumping into this assuming that anybody listening knows what Rocket League is, which I probably shouldn't assume, but it's, soccer with cars, which sounds weird, but it works.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's just playing in net, and so that's causing me and my other teammate to be the only ones on attack.
Right.
So it's just 2-on-3 on attack the entire game. And so we managed to win a bunch doing that, but it was a grind. It was pretty tough because we're just down a man like the entire game.
Yeah.
But he was pretty good at playing goalie. So there was that. Yeah. But yeah, Rocket League's great. They added, since the last time I played, they added custom goal scoring songs.
Oh, okay.
So, like when you score during the replay, you can choose a track that plays
From like
which is pretty cool from a playlist that they have in the game.
Oh, okay.
So it's like stuff from the soundtrack and stuff that they've had in the game, and they've built up a pretty big like playlist since the game's been around since 2015. So they've added music to it pretty much every major update.
Mm-hmm.
And then most recently for Pride Month, they had a bunch of LGBTQIA artists.
Nice.
So they have, I mean, I'm sure it's become like a meme, but they have Montero, Lil Nas X. That's one of the songs you choose, which I was using for a while. So that's pretty cool. Like all the customization stuff that you can do in that game has always been like a big draw.
Yeah.
I was super into the trading aspect of it for a few years.
I remember.
So I just like this massive inventory of stuff, and I only used like one or two different things. So I just like use none of it now. But anyway, not going to get into a whole Rocket League thing. That is not part of the rundown here.
There was a whole economy though, wasn't there? Of like.
There was a whole economy, and because what you could do is they had the whole before Epic took over. Psyonix had like a crate system, where you purchase keys in the store to open these crates, and you get a random item. But there was a big trading community because you could trade both the items that you received and the keys themselves.
Right.
Every item would have a key value assigned to it, so they were currency basically. So, and I spent just an unbelievable amount of time on the subreddit back when I was doing this, the trading subreddit. Got really into it. I don't know what the state of trading is now in that game, because they've removed keys. There are no more crates that you can open like with real money. You can still earn crates from doing like tournaments and different things in game, and then they just have a regular like Fortnite-esque item shop where you know exactly what you're getting, and you purchase credits to get those like cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
And none of that stuff is tradable. I think the only stuff that's tradable is the stuff that you earn in game, which is good because it cuts down on the gambling aspect that can become a problem.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, Rocket League, it's fun. If you haven't tried it, well worth trying, especially because it went free to play last year.
I was gonna say, isn't it free to play? Yeah.
Yes. The only thing I don't like, and there's really no way to fix this, I don't think, is that it's a tough game to play with friends if you are like on a different skill level. Just because of the way matchmaking works, you're always going to be matched up with the person who's highest ranked in your party. So it would be tough, like if we wanted to play a few rounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't played the game probably, I'm assuming, since like the year it came out.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you were to jump back in, you would definitely not I wouldn't be able to play with you because that would just be essentially two different games being played.
Yeah.
Because like the mechanics and what you're able to do, it really is like there's a learning curve to it, where it's fun right away if you are playing with people on your level, but it can become not fun very quickly if you're matched up with somebody higher skilled.
There was that problem in Overwatch too. Like even in quick play, I don't know if they based it off of like time played or whatever, but like they would match you up with people that would play for like, I don't know, 5,000 hours, so like.
Yeah.
I would play with Tori, and she played that game way more than I did, and so we would get grouped up against people that were, they just mainlined that game, So it wasn't like skill level; it was more time put in.
Right. Yeah, Rocket League's is definitely skill level, and they did sort of a soft reset when the game went free to play with the rankings. They changed things up a bit, but you very quickly, like when I returned to the game after, I don't know, 6 months, and I've very quickly like leveled out to where I should be.
Yeah.
So with that aspect of it, the matchmaking is really good. It just becomes an issue if you're trying to play with somebody that's like new and you're trying to introduce them to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unless you just want to like, play 2-on-1 and essentially carry your teammate, which I don't find very fun.
Yeah, it doesn't sound enjoyable.
Yeah. Anyway, you were discussing. Is there anything else with SMT?
I don't think so. That's basically the SMT updates. Who knows? I might distract myself and decide like, oh yeah, I never finished Strange Journey, even though I didn't really like it that much, and so I need to go back to Strange Journey and just derail the whole thing. It's like, no, I want to be done with my DS. I don't want to.
Like, if you had one person who was like eagerly anticipating that next Nocturne stream.
I know. Yeah. Meanwhile, that's just me. I'm that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned Fortnite, so this is something I didn't put in the notes, but I did want to mention.
Okay.
So I was targeted by an ARG.
What?
An ARG, an alternate reality game.
I don't know if I've heard the term before.
Whenever for like marketing or weird things where like they create some kind of little puzzle that for like viral marketing.
Oh, that you like interact with?
Yeah, companies do things like that. So I got a bizarre postcard. This was a few weeks ago. It was before E3. And it's got like this funky green and black design. It's got some numbers on it. And it just says they're coming. And it's got some shapes and and that's all it says, and it doesn't have a return address, but it's got my name on it and my address. It was addressed to me.
Postcard?
What's that?
A physical postcard?
Physical postcard, yeah, in the mail. Came in the mail.
I'm thinking digital. That's even more interesting.
No, yeah, it was very strange. And so I was looking online. It's like, oh yeah, lots of people were getting this in the mail. I'm like, what? Who has my address that would have sent this to me? It's like, I don't really shop around all that. Like, who would have my address? And then, so for some reason, the very first results were like, oh, this has got to be Coldplay. And I was like, what? What does that mean? Why would it be Coldplay? There were people convinced it was Coldplay. I don't know why. I don't know if this is something that Coldplay does. I don't keep up with what Coldplay does. But then I was looking on Twitter and I was like, okay, people were mentioning that they got these postcards. And then literally every person that got the postcards, I looked at their bio. All of them had some variation of gamer in the bio. And I was like, okay, so this has got to be a game thing. Just based off of the interest of the people that are getting them.
This is going to end in aliens, isn't it?
That was my first thought. I was like, okay, this is some kind of alien thing. So then the number on the side, it was enough digits to be a phone number. So I'm like, all right, let's give it a call. Let's call this number. They already have my address. Why not give them my phone number too? So it was for phone number in New Mexico. And it just was weird whooshing and whirring noises. And then it said something like, this is pretty weird or something like that. And then it hung up. And that was all you could do with the phone number. There's another number. It's 310,582. And I thought if I called the number and would input that number, it might do something, and it didn't.
Well, you're already more adventurous than I am because I'm not calling this number in the first place.
Yeah, well, I knew it was going to be some marketing thing, like,
Sure, yeah.
It's like they already had my address. I didn't care. And I didn't remember if it was like *66 or whatever to hide your number, or if that even works anymore. That was like when we were in middle school and you wanted to prank call people. So I didn't even know if that worked. So I'm like trying to think. I'm like, who would have my address? And I'm like looking around my room and I'm like, oh, it's E3 next week. What games are supposed to be announced? And then I remember I was like, hey, there's all these Starfield rumors. This has got to be Bethesda.
Would make sense.
This has got to be Bethesda, because I'm like looking, it's like, oh, there's my Nuka-Cola poster. I definitely bought that from Bethesda, like directly from them.
Bethesda thinks that you are their targeted audience, but maybe that's not quite the case anymore.
Right. So they would send me this, and then I'm like, you know, this feels like kind of half-assed. It's like there's not really a puzzle here. Like ARGs are supposed to have, or it's like, oh, you can actually unveil like what this thing is for. Like I can't really do anything with the phone number. There are different variations of the card that people are posting online. They don't really tell you anything. There are apparently posters that were placed up in like London and LA, but they were also kind of the same, and they had the phone number. And so the whole thing kind of felt half-assed. And it's like, you can't really solve it. You just kind of have to wait for it to be unveiled that, oh, this is what this is. And I was like, that really feels like Bethesda. It really...
You say it's half-assed, but it had you, and maybe this is not how the typical person would react to getting this postcard, but you did a lot of like looking around. And you were engaged with it at least, you know? So in that sense, it was pretty effective.
This legitimately took me 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
This took me 20 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm like, this has got to be Bethesda. And so then I was just like, yep, E3 is like next week. There's all these rumors that they're going to unveil Starfield and give a release date. And I'm like, okay, it's got to be that. And then I just never thought about it again. And then E3 came and went. They did reveal Starfield. But I never heard anything about this ARG. And so I was like, okay, did it just not matter? And so then the other day I was like looking it up again. I was like, anything actually happen with this? Did they, because there was the whole thing with Starfield where the trailer leaked like 10 minutes before it was supposed to actually be unveiled, and that was the whole thing. So turns out, and you mentioning it just reminded me of it. Turns out it's just fucking Fortnite.
Yeah, there's aliens in Fortnite.
They just added aliens or some shit. It's Fortnite.
Yeah.
It's just fucking Fortnite. So I've never played Fortnite. I've never installed Fortnite. And that's not to make me sound like I'm cooler than anybody, but like I've never played. I've never interacted with Fortnite. I don't even have even though they give away free games, I don't have the Epic Games launcher. I haven't bothered.
I thought that might be.
Yeah, and I've just never installed it. And not to like take any. I'm not like anti-Epic or whatever. I'm not taking any principled whatever. I just haven't bothered because I'm lazy.
Right.
But like they don't have my address, so I'm like, okay, how did you get my address? It's pretty weird.
It is.
So it turns out that I purchased the Persona 5 Royal vinyl set from who the hell are they?
Speaking of vinyl, while you look that up,
yeah.
Did you hear that Vintage Vinyl is closing?
I did. That's a bummer.
Yeah, very historic New Jersey record store that had been around for 42 years.
Yeah.
Closing up shop.
I am 8-bit, so I pre-ordered the Persona 5 Royal vinyl set from I am 8-bit, and so apparently they just gave their mailing list to Epic, which I am not thrilled about.
Yeah.
And so Epic then used that to send me a fucking ARG thingy. So
man.
Yeah. I was like disappointed that I had figured out Bethesda's shitty ARG so quickly, and then I was even more disappointed to find out that it wasn't even friggin' Bethesda. It was goddamn Fortnite.
It is so weird that they even need to market their game that way, or feel the need to market their game that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Physical postcards. So strange.
I know. And like everything they do is like so annoyingly in your face and bombastic, because it's like it's for children. So like I can't believe it doesn't say Fortnite somewhere. Like it like just to be like that obvious.
But then again, this is the same company that came out with a recreation of like a 1980s Apple ad at the start of its game, a parody of it for a game that's being played by children. So
no, but their whole point was like so obvious because they were going up against Apple. So it's like, oh, we will make fun of Apple by doing Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything they do is obvious.
Right. It was obvious, and it was also a reference that like a very small percentage of their player base is actually going to understand, forget about actually care about,
True.
But that whole thing was a mess that we don't have to get into.
No.
So yeah, have you played any Fortnite since then?
No. This makes me less likely. Even I was never really going to play Fortnite, and this makes me even less likely to play Fortnite, is the fact that they sent me junk mail.
Yeah.
So I wish it was Starfield.
Yep. Are you going to? Well, I mean, for Bethesda Studios, you have to wait for the reception to that game before you even think about getting it, right?
At this point, yeah. I really don't have any interest. Especially because they're even just admitting now. It's like, yeah, this is gonna be Skyrim in space. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that was their selling point. Yeah.
Okay. Like, I don't think I want that, actually.
No.
Like
not really.
The more I think about Fallout 4, the less I like it. And even like as much as I played Skyrim, the more I think about Skyrim, the less I like it, actually.
Really?
Compared to Oblivion, yeah.
Yeah. They've been sort of on a downward trajectory, seems like, for quite a while.
Yeah, I wrote about it. You can check it out at DeadEndRoad.co.
There we go.
I have a whole deep dive into the design decisions of Bethesda's more recent games. But yeah, it's like that's a game where it's not even wait for the reviews, it's wait for like the long-term reviews, because Fallout 4 reviewed really well. And yeah, I don't look at that game fondly anymore.
Yeah, I didn't play enough of it. I never finished it to really say. But that's interesting because you were pretty high on it initially, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then just like as time goes on.
Yeah. In the base game, it's like all the quests are go here, kill X, all the buildings, where the chest's going to be. Oh, here's the Skyrim door to get you the exit out, that loops around.
Yeah.
All the factions are the same. The quests have no choice or even story, really. It's not until you get to Far Harbor where quest choices make any kind of difference. Yeah, it's...
I mean, that all just sounds like they needed to make another Fallout game, so they made another Fallout game, but it sounds very uninspired.
It all feels like a demo test for what 76 would be. It's like, okay, here's how you'll loot. Here's what these, craftable items will do. Here's how the base building will work. Here's how you'll get faction reputation. Here's how the quest givers will give you quests to go kill X. And then Fallout 76 still didn't work. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't look at Fallout 4 very highly anymore. It's like, yeah, I don't want Skyrim in space. I don't need that. I want you to do more with the Elder Scrolls. I don't want you to keep scaling it back.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, why would you, if you think that people are going to be interested only when you say Skyrim, then why did you not focus all your efforts these years making Elder Scrolls 6 sooner? Right? Like,
yeah. And if you're burnt out on that world or whatever, then it's like, okay,
don't try to recreate it in different context.
Yeah. Why are you just reskinning the game? And it's like, people early, like whenever it was Fallout 3, they were like, oh, this is just going to be Oblivion with guns. And like, that game is not. It is not Oblivion with guns.
Right.
It's its own beast. But now they're just like, fuck it. It's like they don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like, okay, the fans only care about making, the memes in the game, doing their weird stuff that they do. We don't really have to focus too much on creating some vision here that's different from what came before.
Right. It's like you think about all the choice you can do in Oblivion, like just from a gameplay point. Like you can I always go back to this, but you can make your own spells in that game. Like,
yeah,
that's a whole system.
Yeah.
And then in Skyrim, it's just like, oh, here's fire, here's bigger fire. Like.
Yeah, and there's a difference between like streamlining a system and just like dumbing it down.
Yep.
Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, you never know.
It's true, yeah. But like from what I'm hearing on the development, it's that it wasn't really in development like in a major way until the last 2 years. So I have
optimistic.
I have the lowest expectations for that game.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. So is that it on the SMT Power Hour?
Yeah, I think so. What do we think? Do we want to wrap it up there? Oh, yeah, we probably should. It's been an hour and a half.
Yeah.
All right.
Might as well.
I already did the business things, basically, so we could just wrap it up there.
We'll have to save my new segment ideas.
Yes.
For another time.
Yes, definitely.
And you know what? This episode is all the better for it.
Well, you never know. You could have some ideas that would really kick this thing into another gear.
Well, I mean, the whole point was that like I'm someone who has not listened to the show before, and yet I was coming in with ideas.
You know what? You're not alone. I don't think.
It's like I hadn't listened to the show before, but I was coming in with all these ideas about how to make the show better. So,
I think you're not alone. You're with a majority of the world's population, I would say. Have not listened to the show before.
It's a pretty good estimate.
Yeah.
Pretty safe bet.
I do appreciate
to a Gamer Boy channel, and then who knows, it could take off.
Yeah, I do appreciate the seemingly 10-ish hardcore listeners. At least by the YouTube metrics, there's like 10 people.
Hey, that's not nothing.
It's not nothing, and I appreciate it.
Definitely. The idea that anybody would want to listen to me speak for any amount of time is really cool.
I know. It's kind of it's fascinating. Do want to give a quick mention. Roger's just been busy with his own. He's got big boy stuff now, so that's why we haven't had an episode in months. I remember when this was supposed to be a weekly show. That was the idea.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was the idea. That was the idea. It was supposed to be weekly. Oh God, I just have to laugh. But yeah, so I'll get him back on as soon as he's got some time because he's busy. So can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be back soon-ish? Question mark. Who knows?
Who could really say?
Who could really say? Time is sometimes a flat circle, sometimes it's compressed and decompressed and dilated. So, you know, whatever.
Yep. Do you have an outro?
I do. I usually write it. I actually forgot to write it this time, so I'm like floundering a little bit.
I mean, you only had how many months?
I know. Yeah. See, the things I don't write, it's like, oh, I don't need shit, and then I turns out I might need shit. You can follow me at DeadEndRoad pretty much everywhere. Check out the website, DeadEndRoad.co. Check out the Twitch. I'll be streaming SMT Nocturne soon. Maybe even, well, not tomorrow because I got to edit this. Well, it's not going to matter anyway when people are listening. Soon, just check it out. Twitch.tv/DeadEndRoad TV. Check out the YouTube, DeadEndRoad TV. Ian has nuked all his social media like a smart person, so yeah.
Yeah. You can find me. Actually, no. You know what? I'll quote the excellent music artist Lord.
Oh, there you go.
Who says, "Can you reach me? No, you can't."
There you go. All right, that's gonna do it for us. We'll catch you in the next one.
Take care.
Take care. Stay safe out there.
Take care. Just people say take care at the end of a podcast. I don't think so. That's more of like a phone call.
Well, you know, it's all audio mediums.
You should take care, whoever you are. I mean, if you've made it to this point, then definitely.
Yeah. Check your sanity. All right. Peace out.